Okay, so I am live on TikTok. I'm live here on Instagram. Crooked, but still take what I can get. Looks like I'm live on Facebook and YouTube. Welcome, guys. I'm just like out of breath. I was just doing my daily walk down at the beach, trying to pack as much into this summer as I possibly can. So I'm like a hot mess right now. It's good to be with you guys. If you haven't already done so, go ahead and start posting your questions. This is my Dear Ivy show, sort of a play off of Dear Abby. For those of you who are old enough to know what that even is, it was basically this really famous advice column. And so, hi guys, Catherine, Jill, Devin, good to see you. Can I get a thumbs up here on TikTok that you can hear and see me all right? A thumbs up on Instagram as well before I go ahead and get started. Looks good. You guys can hear me and see me. Okay, thank you so much. All right, wonderful. So with the Dear Ivy show, this is a little bit different than my Ask Ivy shows, which have been around for over a decade. We're not doing psychic mediumship. This show is free. You can ask about anything, though, and I will give you my personal opinion. I will give some advice. I will give you maybe some spiritual guidance on it. My perspective on everything is really based on universal law and my belief system there. So you guys can post about relationships, I don't know, money, your career, your life, contract, paranormal stuff, supernatural, curiosities, any questions about life or death or anything goes. So that's what I really love about this show is it's literally anything, okay? Again, similar to my Ask Ivy show, but instead of answering from a psychic mediumship perspective, this is just going to be my opinion, my advice, what I believe, what I have found to work or not work, philosophical ideas here. All right, so it looks like we have a bunch of questions coming in. This is also donation based, so donations are appreciated. If everybody could go ahead and give this video a thumbs up, subscribe. If you're here on YouTube at Ask Ivy, hit that join button if you want to become a member for all kinds of monthly horoscopes, email questions, exclusive Ask Ivy shows, weekly messages, free mini classes. And if you guys are on YouTube and you hit the bell, you'll get an alert every time I go live. So I would highly recommend doing that as well. All right, so we look good on all platforms. Let's go ahead and get into it. Jill and Tiffany, my beautiful producers. Tiffany is in training tonight. So Jill, what's the first question? All right, so we have one here from a Devin. Hi, Ivy. Hope you're doing well. Thank you, Devin. You too. Thank you for your time. My question tonight is, what do I need to do to make myself ready for the next love partner? Okay. I think that what everybody should be doing at this point is so again, this is sort of a collective observation that I've made is that we are exiting the old strategies. I don't know how the dating apps are even surviving right now. I don't think they're doing very well. They're pushing their agenda really, really hard to try to force you to pay. That's a sign that they're deteriorating rapidly. I think that people are going back to meeting organically. I think that would be wise. I also think that what we're supposed to be doing collectively is starting on a steadier foundation than what we have in the past. So I think that we've always taken an approach like, what is this person bringing to the table? What are my goals? Can this person coming in fulfill what I want, whether that be to buy property, to have children, I'm on a time crunch. Let's go. Is this going to work for that or not? We try to fit a square peg in a round hole, whatever fits. So I can get my agenda met. I think we need to get back to basics. I don't know if we've ever even gotten to the basics yet in our history, and that is friendship. So I think that right now, what's going to make relationships successful is learning how to be an ally, learning how to be a friend, learning how to actively listen to someone else, and having less of an attitude. And this does not mean that you should settle for anything below your standards, okay? But I think having less of an attitude of like, what can I get out of this? And a little bit more about how I create love. This is the type of love and energy I want to give off to other people. I would take the focus off of it being a romantic partnership that you want to turn into a long-term commitment. And I would put that emphasis on friendship and the ability that you have to put love out there and support out there toward others. Okay, so again, this goes for everybody. I think this is just a state that we're going to be in for at least the next 3 years. And if we don't learn how to do that, we're not sort of leveling, up. All right, we have another question coming in here. This is from a Michelle. How can I know if I'm in the right field? Should I look into something else? Okay, how do you know if you're in the right field for your career? I always suggest to people, thank you so much for the donations, guys. If I didn't already say so, I saw Deb and Susanna. I appreciate it. I always encourage people to get a life contract reading with me because, and it takes an hour to go through it. But what I'm going to be able to do is to look at your pivotal points. You get 5 to 6 different pivotal points over the course of your entire life. These are your major level up opportunities. That's it, 5 to 6. So what are you doing at these 5 to 6 different major opportunities to grow your career, to be in alignment with your life path? This life contract matches, and I've been testing it out for over 13 years, it matches your numerology chart. If you have a good numerologist that you work with, or a good Vedic or Western astrologer. So it's all the same thing: numerology, astrology, your life contract. It's what you chose to do before you came to Earth. And if you're not doing that work, you're basically wasting your time. It's almost a guarantee that you're going to hit a deadline in your life contract, because everything in there is on deadline. You're going to surpass it, and you're going to have to reincarnate and do it all over again. That particular thing that you missed. Not everything, hopefully. But we don't want to spend a lot of years hemming and hawing and being double-minded and debating on work. If it doesn't feel right, it's time to move on. And if you really want to know where you belong, get a life contract reading. Invest the time, invest the money, put the effort in. You've put so much effort into treading water where you are. Why don't you put that effort into where you can walk away with a guarantee, okay, that you have a roadmap to a better future for yourself? It's just a wise investment. I go and get astrology work contracts every year. I get my annual reading, and my astrologer, Christina Del Rey, breaks down every single month, every single week, down to the day, sometimes even down to the hours. We can see exactly where I'm going to have an opportunity for prosperity. Now, I've been doing this for 8 years. Or where something's going to fall apart. Okay. So you can even get more specific than your life contract. You can get the general idea there, and then you could break it down into bite-sized pieces, and you can have everything mapped out for yourself to maximize. There's absolutely no reason for anybody why we should be at a loss about what we came here to do. Okay. So invest the time and the energy. All right, let's move on to another question here from a Jackie Morris. Hi, Ivy. Hi, Jackie. I sometimes feel as though I know what's coming before it happens. How do I know if I'm intuitive? Well, everyone's intuitive. So it's a myth that there's like, I'm 6th generation intuitive, right? Or I'm 4th generation intuitive. We're all 6th and 4th and 12th and whatever. We all are. It's innate. We'd be dead if we weren't using our psychic ability every single day to stay alive. It's just your gut instinct. So what you're talking about here, and we don't want to overcomplicate it, is you're using your psychic ability. So you're knowing things before they happen. That's the same thing you would have done if you were living in a cave and a woolly mammoth was coming, right? So it's about having a premonition, a vision, a clairvoyant episode, right? Your third eye telling you something, a dream, a prophecy, anything like that goes. And accepting it, acknowledging it, and really embracing it. Okay. And saying, I'm going to use this. I'm going to write it down, or I'm going to like make a post-it about it. I'm going to remember that this happened. I'm going to test it out to see how accurate it was. I'm going to tell the other person that I saw this for, that I saw this for them. And, then, clock it to see what actually goes on in the future. Anything you do like that is feeding it. And so that triggers universal law, right? Like attracts like. You are essentially saying to the universe, I want more of this thing because I am feeding it with my time, attention, energy, and it'll strengthen. Okay. So yes, 100%. That is psychic ability. And we don't want to make it out to be more than what it is. It's sometimes going to be super accurate. Other times you're going to need to polish up a little bit on the detail or the timeline. You are eventually going to have to figure out the difference between what is destiny, meaning 100% guarantee that thing is going to happen, versus what is free will. We don't know. Can be manipulated by the people involved, by the hands in the pot, by time. We don't know. So that can get confusing. What is true and what is not true. We can get real tripped up. And when it's actually what is destiny and what is free will. Okay, so eventually you're going to want to polish. All right, that goes for everybody. All right, you are all empaths to some level. There are 4 levels. You are all psychic. That's a given. You're using it every day, all day. And we're all mediums, because spirit doesn't care whether you believe or not. Okay, spirit comes through to communicate. That's what mediumship is. So it really has very little to do with you and whether or not you acknowledge it, as much as it is in existence, period, point blank. So we could all tap in. All right, Lucy has a question here. Hi, Ivy. Hi, Lucy. Any advice for managing the overload of clairaudience and intuition and following the light in the midst of that inner chaos? And then she's got like a laughing, crying emoji. I get that. I feel that. Yes. Okay, much love. Yes, much love to you too, Lucy. All right, advice on managing clairaudient and intuition overload. Well, the most important thing is that you're paying attention to what you want more of. So if there are negative and lower spirits that are harassing you, and they will through clairaudience, we're going to break that down. If you feel like you're getting a lot of information off of people through clairempathy, that's useless to you. Whether you're hearing them telepathically or you're accidentally picking up on their stress, or people are, coming to you and they're sort of siphoning your energy and dumping their problems on you, TMI, everybody in the free world wants to come up to a high level empath and talk to them and, even touch them. You've got to set boundaries with all of that, but you also have to set boundaries with your own mind. And the way intuition can kick in and take over your mentality, your energy level. Okay. So you have to decide once and for all, and I would sit with your joy guide. Your joy guide watches over your mental and emotional well-being, but also your spiritual development. Okay. There's a class up on the website called Meet Your Guides that can help you with this. So your joy guide is your right hand, man or woman. This is the person you want to go to and say, I need you to help me get this in order. So tell your joy guide you're struggling in this area and that these are the type of intuitions you want to feed, and these are the ones you don't want to know anymore about. Okay. And ask them to show you, how you can better manage that. It's, again, mostly about what you feed. It's no different than an intrusive thought. Anyone here of OCD? I mean, actually have OCD, like you've been diagnosed with OCD or anything like that. Okay. I would love to see in the comment section how this next little bit resonates with you. All right. So when you have OCD, right, your mind gets like on a loop and it just sort of runs away without you, or with you, I should say. And you're just sort of along for the ride. Well, it's the same thing with intuition. It's like you have to find a way to stop that dead in its tracks and be like, no, I am not feeding this. I am instead, okay, moving on to something else. It's almost like you have to distract your mind, okay, with something else. Eventually it stops being so much work and labor, and it's just sort of like a tick, it becomes a habit that you formed like any other habit, but it's a lot of work. And I think that with the clairaudience, which is the ear ringing, the tinnitus, the pressure in the ears, it increases in the bathroom. The native belief is the porcelain, the earth, the water, the mirrors are all conductors of communication with the other side. So clairaudience is the ability for a spirit to come through and put thoughts in your head, solutions in your head, their words in your head, songs in your head, and negative and lower spirits will put horrible thoughts in your head, mostly about you, right? And how like you're worthless, or, things that can make you really depressed or paranoid or anxious. So with clairaudience, I would highly recommend you take the psychic mediumship course, okay, to learn more about this one. But you have got to fine tune your brain to know when your thoughts are your own or they were put in by an outside source. Humans are incredibly susceptible to manipulation. Okay. And that's a gateway for negative energy. And be careful with drinking and drug use, because that's where it can become a real problem you can't control as easily. All right. I can go off on a tangent on this one forever. But thank you so much for that question, Lucy. We have another one coming in here from a Catherine Yee. I've been at my job 5 months. I'm so stressed. How should I know if I should stay and be patient? Well, I think that sometimes when we approach a situation, we know 100% we were meant to invest in. It can be very stressful. I think that with some levels up, it's going to be a huge testing period, and it doesn't come without new level, new devil, right? So check out my mini class here on YouTube called Fighting the Dark, part 1 and part 2, where I break down the 5 ways you get attacked when you're leveling up. I would say if it doesn't fit in those categories, you got to get out of there. Maybe you made a mistake. You have to understand that when you get into something and it is helping you to evolve in a significant way, it's not going to come easily. Even if you got through the door initially with ease, all of a sudden, here come the problems. And you could start to think real quick, I made a mistake. I got to back out of this. How did I not feel all of this trouble coming? That to me is usually a sign that I'm about to have a breakthrough. But it's not always easy to navigate uncharted territories and move forward in blind faith when it's taking a toll on you. I would ask yourself this: the trials and tribulations, the stretching, the growth, the karmic tests I feel like I'm going through, are they useful to me? Am I learning new skills? Am I doing everything I can to take from this opportunity, right, as much expansion for myself as an individual as I possibly can, or within my career in this case as well, to expand as much as I can? There should be growth there. If you find that there are no new lessons for you, that there's absolutely no depth to this, that you really didn't feel that fire in the belly when you entered, you may have made a mistake. You may want to back out. If it's nothing but a drain, you really should have known that ahead of time, that you were going in a wrong direction, and you may have just chosen to go in a wrong direction anyways, possibly because it was easy. Okay. All right. Thank you so much for that question. Let's move on to another one from a Cat Wolf. I know how to read. I know that I'm pretty accurate, but I always seem to have a problem reading my own situations. I don't see till it's too late. How do I change this? Okay. So how do we read ourselves? It's a myth that you can't read yourself. It's a myth that you can't read those that you know. It's even a myth that you can't trust your intuition if you have something like OCD or a lot of trauma. We'd all be dead. Okay. Think of all the people you know who have trauma or a disability, or a mental health issue. None of these people could trust their intuition. That's ridiculous. Okay. Of course we can. None of us can read ourselves. How are we even alive? Yes, of course we can. Okay. And yes, it's hard to read family and friends, but you could be disciplined enough to do that. Keep your opinion out of it. Okay. There are a million ways. Let's stick to Kat's question here. How can I read myself better so that I'm not always, feeling like I got kicked in the teeth afterward when truth is revealed? Well, you have to be able, and it comes through programming yourself and deprogramming yourself and establishing habits about the way you perceive the people in your life, the situations in your life, the opportunities in your life, and making sure that every time you approach something new, you're removing your feelings, okay, your emotion, any old influence that you may have for or against this new opportunity. You need to make sure that you're paying attention to any physical cues that you're going to get, including dreams. So, like prophecy, warning dreams, the symbols in your dreams. Something physical that happens for a lot of us is like a burning at the back of the neck up into the head. That's a warning. Left eye twitching. That's a warning. You can feel a lot of pressure on the right side of your body. That's a sign to put your power out and move forward. I have a symbology book coming out. There's a million symbols. Okay. The physical stuff takes hours to go through all the physical stuff. There's basically a surefire way to know positive symbology in your body or negative symbology in your body. So know your body, know the symbols that come to you also in your dreams, out in the world, through numerology, through the animals. I think that you have to trust it more. And one of the things that we tend to overlook that causes us to be stuck in this rut is that we don't take seriously enough our morning conversations with our guides. Those of you who follow me, I say this like a tick. If you are not sitting for 10 to 20 minutes every morning with your guides, okay, and your ancestors, and asking these 3 questions: what pitfalls can I avoid today? What should I focus on for my prosperity today? And how can I be of service today? You're going to fall behind, and things are going to sneak up on you that never should be able to sneak up on you. Okay. So the answer here, I guess, in total is about better maintenance on a regular basis. So nothing's ever new. Okay. All right. Thank you for that question. That is an excellent question. I think everybody can identify with that one. Nicole Whitehead. I do want to stop real quick and ask you guys if you could please give this video a thumbs up. This is a free show, Dear Ivy, where I'm giving my advice or opinions on any type of question goes here. Donations are appreciated. Please do drop a comment to get me moving in the algorithm and subscribe. All right, so Nicole Whitehead says, hi, Ivy. When we get a mediumship reading and we're told a time period for an event coming up in our life, can that time frame change? If so, what are some of the factors that change it? For example, a new relationship. I knew you were going to use that example, or I knew that would be what most people are thinking at this point, because that's the one that changes the most. So I'm not surprised. You probably have a whole bunch of examples, right? Everyone has at least 3, especially if you go get readings regularly. Why on earth did this not happen when the reader told me? And this is a secure reader. This is someone who seems to be right about everything. Why did this not happen in that time frame? Well, like I said earlier, we have destiny charted future and we have free will future. I just did this church service last Sunday. It's up on YouTube now. It's called Free Will versus Destiny. Okay, so you guys can go here on YouTube and watch church from Sunday. What's the difference between free will and destiny? Well, destiny means it's written in the stars. It's a 100% guarantee, and you can give a timeline on it. It's going to be accurate. It cannot be manipulated. Free will, on the other hand, too many hands in the pot. The timeline can be manipulated. The details and the circumstances can be manipulated. Everybody involved has an opportunity to alter, to manipulate the situation. When you have that in relationships, because you always will, it is not at all uncommon to see that some of the reasons a love partnership doesn't work out on the exact timeline that was predicted was because someone is freezing up. Someone is chickening out. Maybe they don't want to leave an ex. Maybe they haven't done the cord cutting. Maybe they won't detach from an ex. Maybe they're mourning a relationship for too long. Maybe they're afraid to go out and be open to a new relationship. Maybe in the meantime, they were supposed to be healing. They became a workaholic, or they started drinking too much, or they started, I don't know, a new addiction to casual sex, and they stopped looking for a meaningful relationship. A million things can happen. Those are the most common ones that I see. And all of a sudden, what was supposed to be a deadline, a timeline for the two people to come together is significantly altered, and it may not happen at all. Hopefully, it will just be postponed, but it really depends. I would have to look at the exact circumstance. But there are absolutely things that you can count on, okay, that this is destiny charted. And there are things that you can do almost like a percentage. I'll tell my clients, look, it's like 78% chance. It's a 98% chance this is going to happen, okay? I can't give a guarantee. But with free will, you can measure it out if you have a solid reader who's seen it enough. But no guarantees. Very interesting. I love the topic of free will versus destiny, and we really need to understand this to navigate life. All right, we have one here from Tristan. Hello, Tristan. My friend and I were talking about free will the other night. He believes in determinism. What are your thoughts on that? I've seen your videos on free will, but I'm curious how this relates. Well, I'm assuming that what you're referring to there is just that everything's written, right? So again, this church service I did the other night, I literally broke this whole thing down. I think I even opened with that, talking about how a lot of people believe that everything's written. That's it. What you are here on earth just to play it out, like a movie, like you are, the goal is for you to sort of detach from everything, or be like an eagle flying above the storm, but you're just watching the movie play out and it's all already written. No, that's not the case. Other people believe that everything's free will. It is entirely up to you. Absolutely nothing is written. And you could create whatever you want. No, that's also not true. So it is a combination of both. Certain things are written and are definitely going to happen, and it's up to you what you do with them. Okay, so free will allows you to maximize that opportunity, to totally fail, to choose a high vibration or a low vibration, to wrap up karma and have growth and empowerment and potential, or to do absolutely nothing. It just really depends. So it's definitely both. All right, let's move on to another one from Julie Reynolds. Hi, Ivy. Hi, Julie. When you first started out doing spiritual work, what was the best advice you got or have for someone debating this path? It's not a choice. So just give in. Okay, that's the best. I don't think anyone ever I think I gave myself that advice. I don't know that anybody ever really told me that. You can't avoid the fact that you are a spiritual being having a human experience. You can't hide from this. And it's our toxic society and all the ridiculous programming, right, that is currently being burnt down, that has trapped us into thinking we have an option, and that the spiritual option is the wrong one. Okay. That the intuitive path is the wrong choice. You should be just a cog in the machine. Okay. And just feed, okay, our toxic, capitalistic world here, and not question anything. Why are you really here? What should you really be doing with your days? What's your true calling? What is that weird spirit that always comes to you, who gives you the right guidance? Why is it bad to talk to that person if they're always helping me? Why should I ignore these psychic abilities that I have, all these premonitions and prophecies and visions that I have? Even a lot of us at this point, especially after 9/11, but it's increasing the last couple of years, are having a lot of apocalyptic, dreams and prophecies. Why should we ignore that when the therapist says it's psychotic, right? It's in the DSM-5 as either having a psychotic episode or magical thinking? Really? Are we going to keep listening to these people, okay, who have destroyed the planet? I mean, who are just serving up the same nonsense year after year after year? I think everybody's done with it. That's the bottom line. And that's the point that humans have reached in our evolution, that cracking point where we realize we are either going to let our lights die out, we are literally just going to die off, or we're going to start fighting for what we really are. We are spiritual creatures having a human experience. So we are getting back in touch with our roots. We are taking our power back. And so for you to understand that you never really had a choice here, it's either you let yourself die off or you give in and you start exploring who you really are. It's less of like that world over there, right? That spiritual world, that intuitive world, that energetic world. And it's more that part of yourself, right? That is already one with that energy. Okay. There is no divide. Did anybody give me advice on that? I don't know. I guess the best advice that I ever really got was inadvertent, noticing that my family, again, we're Taino Airwalk, right? We're French. It was normal in my family to see ghosts and to have prophecies and stuff. Not every generation had it, but I was definitely the one who did. They just never shamed me for it. So I thought it was normal until I went to school, so that helps. Okay, we have another question here from Atasha on TikTok. How will I know when the timing is right for my next love partner? How will I know when the timing is right for my next love partner? I would say that just from experience in my personal life and what I've seen with a lot of my clients, they know ahead of time. So in your life contract, your numerology chart, your astrology, whatever, you're going to have certain people that are supposed to cross your path. You have a contract with these people, and these are dynamic relationships that you really need to invest in. And you're always alerted to these ahead of time. Sometimes when you're 5 years old, but it may not happen till you're 35. Sometimes you see them like a couple days or a couple weeks before they enter into your life. Okay. And so it's kind of an immediate transition. Other times, you start to notice that things in your life are changing a lot. You're going through some very dramatic shifts. Usually when we have a soulmate enter, for example, we have a lot of detoxing that goes on right before that. Okay. So same thing can happen with a pregnancy. So you can see job change, financial change, work change. It can look like the worst possible time for somebody to come in, right? You're like, oh my God, let me handle my mess. And then here comes this beautiful creature to kind of, right, ironically, like help you handle your mess. So you gotta make sure you stay out there and open to it. It's not like everything in your world needs to be pristine, okay, and presentable in order to attract this person, because usually when it's like that, nobody shows up at all, or you're only attracting duds or losers, right? Clowns. And a lot of the reason for that is that they want to come and take advantage of what you have because they don't want to do their own work, right? So you have to think outside the box about this type of thing. You have to realize that when you're living authentically, and change can do that to us, right? You're going through a lot in life. But you're doing your best. You're choosing that higher vibration. That can really attract a lot of positivity to you. Red lights turn green, right? Just the right kind of lover shows up. Networking shows up. Other business opportunities show up, right? Enlightenment, spiritual evolution. So that's when soulmates come in. You will know ahead of time, period, point blank. You will know ahead of time. I would also say that, when somebody comes in, I think we need to talk to other people less about it. I think we need to be careful that we don't go, and I know there are a lot of hilarious memes and videos, and I laugh and I watch them all, but it's really not funny. If we take someone that we genuinely feel we're supposed to be spending some time with, maybe keep that private for at least a minute, maybe a month, 2, if you can. You don't need to be showing all your girlfriends this picture. You don't need to be letting everyone tear it down. You don't need to have other people's opinions. Start treating your relationships as though they are sacred, because they are. And we don't want to be missing out. Okay. Because there are just too many hands in the pot for something that's only supposed to be 2 people anyways. Okay. Okay, let's move into another question here. So Edgar wants to know, could I please get advice on how to have a consistent, loud, clear voice? I notice that my voice gets very unclear around others, maybe for being an empath or throat chakra issue, hard to clear my voice. Okay, how can you have a louder, clearer voice? I was laughing at myself the other day because I got a bad review. And I'm Puerto Rican, and like I always think Puerto Ricans and Italians, we don't have a low volume, and we're not yelling at you. That's just how we talk. You'll know if I'm yelling at you. Everything's gonna change. But this person gave me a bad review for saying like I was so loud and she talks so fast. I can't even hear myself think. And I was like, well, that's a problem. You shouldn't be thinking at all. You should be listening to me anyways if you came here for a reading. But I wondered where exactly that came from, because often when we have a closed throat chakra, as I've struggled my entire life, as do you, Edgar, okay, with a closed throat chakra, that means people tried to silence you. People tried to keep you down. Your voice is a power point for you in your life where you can use it, okay, to create prosperity, but it's also a point of attack. So I was thinking that about my own self, like how the heck did I end up being so loud, right? And so like, even if I feel insecure, I may get even louder when I feel insecure. Like, where did I get that? I think that what you have to do is release yourself. I think you have to release your ego and being hyper aware and hyper vigilant over yourself. You have to stop looking at yourself and sort of analyzing, everything about like your delivery, for example, and just say, I'm just going to let it flow. I'm going to let it flow. I'm going to keep that volume up. I'm going to make eye contact. I'm going to put it out there, because at the base of everything you're saying, you know that it's coming from a good place. You know that it may not immediately make a ton of sense, but eventually it'll get there. Hopefully, if it doesn't, oh well, but you have to practice. It's one of these situations where it's like practice makes perfect, or at least, practice makes progress. And you want to understand too that when you really don't want to speak at all, and you've got the social anxiety, and you would do anything to not have to do something like public speaking, remember the cause. You're not showing up there to hear yourself think. You're not showing up there to hear yourself talk. You are showing up because you have healing to offer. And all the attacks you've had through your childhood, in your previous lives, through generational curses, all the attacks on your throat chakra, this is you breaking a chain. This is you giving out that light, that power, that healing to others, and you will not be silenced. And eventually, you don't even know that you're doing it. You may have to quiet yourself. It just happens. Okay. So again, I feel like what we're talking about here a lot today is habit forming. Okay. A lot, like 3 or 4 times. All right. That is a great question. Anybody else have trouble speaking up? I notice that with people a lot, where it's like you may start off strong, but after a couple minutes, you're almost whispering, and people have to lean in and see what is it you're saying, and your power just really diminishes. Does anybody have issues with this? Okay, and if you do and you want to share with us, I would love to know why you think that is. Okay. All right. Do we have any other questions coming in here? We have one from a Lauren C. Hi, Ivy. Hi, Lauren. Can we change our life contract? Nope. Absolutely not. You can not do it and reincarnate and have to do it over again. You can, if you have a contract with somebody else and it's become toxic, or they're failing horribly and there is just no way to fulfill this thing, you can sign off and you could sign on to a new contract. But technically, you're still dealing with the same karma. You're just saying to the universe, I will learn this another way. Give me somebody else, give me another situation, work with me directly, show me how, and I will fulfill this contract another way. So it's really kind of the same thing over and over again. No, it's a non-negotiable. And it will be a non-negotiable when you die too. You get back over there and it's like, all right, let's look at the paperwork. If you guys have ever seen those movies, where somebody dies and they go to heaven and then they have to be processed. And it's like, did you finish this? What's going on with this file full of fear, No? Oh, well, here you go again, and you're a baby. All right, let's move on to another one. This is from a Shabley on TikTok. I'm looking to purchase the Nelson Loop house. What advice do you have on knowing if a big decision is going to work out and should be pursued versus walking away? I don't know what that is, but how do you know if you should pursue something or walk away? This is, again, a situation where you really should have had premonitions about it before. Anytime something pops up entirely out of the blue, I would say be very careful you're not about to bite off more than you could chew. Anytime somebody presents something to you or something just seems a little too good to be true, all that glitters is not gold, right? But there's a lot of pressure to do it or to get it done. I would tread very, very lightly. I'm not saying don't do it. I'm just saying have a plan B, a plan C, a plan D, have an exit clause. If you are unsure about anything that is big in life, my trick is to tell spirit, I need 3 major signs that come out of the blue. When I'm not thinking about it at all, I need you to give me 3 major signs that this is something I should be doing. If I can get those 3 signs, I can do it more confidently. But there is nothing that should come into your life that is a major opportunity that you didn't already know was on the way. You should have had visions about it, prophecies, at least dreams. Okay. Or it should have, maybe came up in a reading that you got, something like this. I would look there. Okay. We have another one coming in here from We Are at Time. All right. Beautiful. Thank you so much, you guys. I'm loving what I'm seeing here in the comment section. Can't wait to go through this. I'll be responding to you guys in the next couple weeks here as well. So if you guys like this show, I'm going to continue to do it. I think this is the second one that I ever did. I will be back for my regular Ask Ivy show here in a couple weeks, as well as Get a Grip. And the next Get a Grip show we're going to be doing is going to be on your money, investments, and career. If you guys need to book a reading with me, go to Ivy Rivera Psychic Medium.com for parties, psychic fairs, readings, other things. Thank you so much to my beautiful producers and spirit. Thanks everybody for tuning in. We'll see you soon.